talking this fast, but that's okay. Probably better just to say fast. For anybody on the board,
Janet, I can't hear you.
well, I'm doing the best I can, Joanne. I have a little bit of a cough, cold, sore throat thing, so bear with me. We are being videotaped. If anybody has any objections, I guess you'll have to get over them. All right. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda? Everybody received the agenda? Okay. I'd like to welcome the public. Nick and Jackie are here. Jackie's right there. Nick's in the back. Is Steve here? Are you Steve?
Yes.
Oh.
Hey, Steve. I'm not sure. Steve.
No, I think you're Steve. When we get to that part of things, when Todd's doing his report, you'll have an opportunity to come. Were there any corrections to the minutes from last month? Those were sent out last night. Dave, maybe a chance to take a look. And they're here if you need them. Any additions or corrections? May I get a motion to pass the minutes from December, please?
Please pass the minutes from December as presented.
Second, please. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes are passed. Okay. Correspondence. I have a couple different things. And I received a couple of additional things. I have an email from Nick Stoller, who is right there in the puppy jacket, asking to become a member of the EDC. If anybody would like to take a look at his letter, I'd like to give him a minute just to present why he'd like to be on the board. I can give a little bit of background on this too. If anybody would like to look at his letter, it's here. We have Jackie Schiller.
Why don't we read the letter?
You can read the letter. I'm not going to last through the meeting if I read it.
Nick, you don't mind me reading the letter?
Not at all.
Yeah, great to speak with you as well tonight. Many thanks for the background info on the EDC site. In short, I would love to join the EDC. As background on me goes, we, my wife Kara, and our 16-month-old daughter, Tallulah, moved to West Cornwall in May of this year. I feel Cornwall is a wonderful place to raise our family. This is my second time living in Litchfield County, the first from '95 to 2006 when I relocated to be Director of Sales for National Regulatory Services in Lakeville. For the last 14 years, I've been an entrepreneur, co-founding and being CEO of two successful technology companies that serve Wall Street, and I'm currently starting my third new company. Based on my career and experiences working for and starting small businesses, I believe I can add value to the EDC. I look forward to seeing you at the upcoming meeting. Again, many thanks, Nick.
I've been talking to Nick for a while about the EDC, so I'm very excited that he's put forth a letter to become a member.
What's this?
From Jackie.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jackie.
Hello. Mine's long, sorry.
It's good though. Obviously you're a writer.
From Jackie. I'm a writer with a head full of ideas, browser full of bookmarks, and not the longest attention span. The sixth-generation Texan, I was raised along the Guadalupe River and completed the prestigious creative sequence at UT Austin, earning a bachelor's degree in advertising. I then moved to New York City, worked as a copywriter before eventually joining the editorial staff of IndieWire and the film magazine IFC Rant. Several festivals later, I left to write full-time, publishing a novelty book, a few short humor pieces, and 2 award-winning yet unsold screenplays, travel pieces for Design Sponge, including a Litchfield County guide, food articles for James Beard nominee Nona Brooklyn, plus a few children's stories. My first picture book will be published in 2018. Locally, I've written pieces for Rural Intelligence and Edible Nutmeg. In addition to literary pursuits, I've been a jewelry designer for my company, Trigger Happy, and was the co-founder and publisher of Larks and Japes, a design events studio and award-winning blog. I served on the Rose All-Grant Committee and am largely responsible for publicizing the show. 4 years ago, I made the leap with my husband Tom from Manhattan to living full-time in West Cornwall. We are happy here. I'm interested in preserving what's great about our neck of the woods while promoting growth as well. This little town has much to offer: nature, art, education, history, farms, nice neighbors. I'd like to figure out ways to attract businesses, tourists, and young families so that the unique character of Cornwall might continue to flourish. Thanks. Jackie Lynn Schiller.
Nice, thank you.
So those were sent directly to me, and I thank you very much. Jackie and I actually had talked about the Roselle Grant Show. So when she was promoting the Roselle Grant Show, which has been enormously successful, that's how we got in touch with each other. This was sent directly to the selectmen.
So this is from, I've got it. Dear Board of Selectmen, Gordon Ridgway, Heidi Kearns, Richard Bramley, this is from Bianca Reiner Briggs. As a business and property owner in the commercial center of West Cornwall, I would like to serve this town in the Economic Development Commission. I would appreciate to be considered for the currently open position. Best regards, Bianca.
Okay, and then I have, there's also some information from the solar panel people. I don't think I'm going to get into this too much, but I think maybe we can discuss this a little bit afterwards. They're just asking if the EDC is interested in, helping promote solar to businesses, and there's apparently some incentives to do so. So I think it's probably something we could kind of talk about afterwards. Yeah, I can just pass it around
Or
the
next
board to you
meeting.
guys. Or next meeting.
Send the info around and then we can discuss it.
That's a good idea. Okay, so just, if somebody, Wendy,
Is
remind me to
anybody
send
here?
that out?
Nobody's here to represent that, right?
No, it was just sent as an email.
Is that an email company, the silver, what's it called?
It's-
Name of the company?
It is Litchfield Hills Solar. Ray-
Solar.
Yeah, Ray.
Solar rays, right.
You know Ray?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I
So,
know Ray.
okay, so apparently there's some programs that might be helpful for businesses. So Richard, I can send that around and we can discuss this next time.
And that's
the-
Jimmy Laporte was involved with.
Oh, okay, I
Part-
think he still is, yeah?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
they're the ones that also done the tree on
Right.
the green cornbread.
Got it, okay. So that was our correspondence. I just wanted to get into presentations since we have guests here, just so they can do their thing and not have to sit through everything. Nick, if you don't mind, just talking a little bit about, who you are. I know we got a little bit from your letter, but I can also tell, a little bit about why you can be good for the group too. But
Thank you.
please.
Sure. So again, I'm an entrepreneur, have been for 13, 15 years. Grew up on Long Island, moved to Manhattan after I got out of college, and then took a job running sales at National Regulatory Services in 1996, and just fell in love with the area, all of Litchfield County, and joined the rowing club, on Salisbury Lake. If you're familiar with Canaan, the Colonial Theater, I had an effort that wasn't successful to get that thing, acquired and reopened. Somebody else reopened it and then it closed. You guys all know the story. So I really like the area a lot. It's a wonderful, community. Moved back to New York, and then my wife and I, Kara, got married, and we're fortunate enough to have a baby. And we've always decided that, we're not going to raise our child in New York. We wanted to be, in an area like this, because we were both, suburban kids. And so left Lower Manhattan in May of this year, and my old broker found us a great place in West Cornwall. And so it's really a lovely community, and Karen never lived up in this area, so she loves it. And really think it's a great place to raise a family, and also think that the area could benefit from more economic development, other small businesses coming into the area. Karen and I both believe that this is a very attractive area to have a business if you can, because I have an experience from working in a small business in Lakeville a long time ago. It was 19 people when I started there. By the time I left, we were 80, and had gotten acquired by a large conglomerate. So in this area, I've personally seen and experienced and been a part of, getting people into the area to actually relocate to work. And so now I'm on my third startup, and I anticipate hiring people, and most likely opening an office, probably starting with a small one in the area. And so that's basically and it's a technology information, business. But I'm a believer in, hiring human beings as opposed to exclusively robots. They have their place, but you do need people. So that's just a little bit about me. And any questions? Happy to.
Where is the
Answer.
business going to be located?
Well, having a 16-month-old and being 53, I'm definitely going to be working from home most of the time because, you know, it's our first child, and so it's nice to have her pop in the office and show me a Sesame Street book. And
That's
Yeah.
West Cornwall? You're in West Cornwall?
yeah, the house right now is in West Cornwall, you know, exactly
Oh,
where,
you're at the Bishop House.
yeah, the Bishop House. Exactly where the office will be, I'm not quite sure,
Uh-huh.
you know, but close.
So you're renting the Bishop, or you're buying?
Yeah, we're renting it, and we may very well buy it, you know.
How are you finding the internet speeds?
Yeah, that's been a question I've had so far. For me, we've Comcast, it's fine.
Your Comcast? Is it?
Comcast,
Yeah, we are too.
yeah.
West Cornwall gets Comcast?
Yeah.
No, for Optimum.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It's Optimum, thank you. I have Optimum.
They would.
Yeah, but I've had Verizon Fios for years. So far, for what I do, I can't tell the difference. But there might be certain applications, like streaming video, although I don't download a lot of videos, but I do watch some of
There is
it.
Optimum Business, so you could go. You want to- Do you do Optimum Business?
No, I've got a residential line, and it's, so far,
It's good enough.
so far it's good enough, but,
I don't want to get sidetracked.
yeah, so,
Any other questions?
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great, yeah.
Good to have a big thinker around.
if anything I can think of.
Aside from us, though.
Yeah. Jackie?
Hi, I'm Jackie Oakley. I forgot we get filmed at these. So I've been here in Cornwall, West Cornwall, on Lake Road. Richard's one of my neighbors, as well as the Princes. We bought our place in 2001 and kept coming up part-time, and our time here kept getting longer and longer. And now we're here full-time. And part of this was I just wanted to kind of learn what everybody did, but the best way to learn, I guess, is to jump right into it, possibly. Because I certainly have opinions about what I'd like to see coming here. I volunteer a lot with kids, so I've done things over at the Wasaic Project in Washington with ASAP, and noticed, I don't have children myself, but noticed that our school was getting smaller and smaller in population. So between Owl Grant and bringing people to that and just being here all the time, I would just like to see more businesses brought in and what we can do to promote younger families to come in, like Nick here. And so that's all for now. I don't know. Ask me questions. I'm better at answering questions than anything about paper, obviously.
Well, I think the advertising aspect is,
Oh, yeah.
is helpful too.
So I have my background's in advertising and in publicity, and so in my own way, I've done what I can, like by writing for Rural Intelligence and promoting things like the Wish House, and it would be great if there would be more food things. But there's opportunities here, I think, for small businesses especially, and I've had my own 2 companies that I've done everything basically, from setting up the websites to promoting them, and they've been successful. Unfortunately, I had to close them when I moved here. But yeah, I feel like I could bring the advertising and the PR aspect to whatever you guys are working on in projects.
Did you say you think it would be great if there were more food things?
Yeah, well, like,
I thought of
it would, I would like to see a place that we could hang out here. I mean, like, that's a priority. And I mean, it doesn't have to be a restaurant, it could be a coffee thing. I don't know, I just feel like there's missing a communication in Cornwall maybe about getting people a place to like come and chat.
And are you renting on?
Yep, I own.
You own.
Mhm. We're not going anywhere, so.
Whose house did you buy?
Excuse me?
Whose house did you buy?
It was the Feely's house, and before that, it was Margot Feely's
Oh,
house,
Margot.
and then before that, it was Nancy.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
the cabin.
Any other questions for Jackie?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out on a 10-degree day too.
Sure.
It's really chilly out. Okay, I'm gonna get to the treasurer's report, and you guys can stay, or you guys can, if you guys want to hang out, you're welcome to do so.
Barbara's been ill recently, and I didn't get a report from her, so I don't have a card.
Okay, that's okay, we'll do that next time. The numbers are still, no, I mean, nothing's changed.
As far as I know, nothing's changed, and I'll circulate that when I get that.
Perfect, okay. And thank you again for stepping up as treasurer.
Is this time the time that we would talk about changing the fiscal year? Was there ever any, I read in some minute at some point that there was, because I get very confused.
Yeah, we're actually, I mean, the fiscal wasn't matched to the goals because we were running on a calendar year
Right.
as a group, and our budget was running
Right.
from July 1. So, it was a little bit
So,
discombobulated.
so the budget would have to stay, we would change our,
We're gonna do new goals
yeah,
in, at our June,
July,
July
right,
meeting.
okay, that
And then we
makes
can budget, and I think that was, like a very important point that, we had missed.
yeah.
Okay.
I would like to ask Gordon though to help clarify for us the budget process from our.
Right, yes, so that's, I was gonna jump in, and this is budget season, so the committee should submit a budget to the selectmen for their consideration. We get our budget pretty well finalized by early February. It's hard to keep everything straight, but we present to the Board of Finance in mid-February, so we would like to hear from you all as soon as possible as far as the budget for next year. And again, that would have to have specific projects attached to whatever you request from the town money, or at least budget lines or whatever. It has to be broken out. You can't just say we want $3,000. You would have to have some sort of idea of what is that going to be spent on. I think that's about it, but, so, I'm not sure how that aligns with, with your next meeting,
Yeah.
but we're sitting down with departments now, and I apologize for, on my part or whatever for not doing that, but, I mean, you still have time, like, but you should get on it. You may need to meet again before your next regular meeting, just to, and that might not be a bad idea either, just, because I've been here to all your meetings, I mean, just to get your goals for the next year and your budget aligned, just have a budgeting goals workshop where that's the focus of the meeting, and instead of, the 8 other things that are going on, just do a budget goals for the year meeting. Plus it's a good time of year. Anyway, so, that's it.
Well, drinks and eats at my house. Easy to make it pleasurable. Right? Okay, thank you, Gordon. Okay,
Probably noticed.
yes, sure. Okay, we're gonna go into the committee captain's report. Priscilla, can you start, please?
Well, nothing new has happened over the holidays, but what I said, I felt that Cornwall, New York were very business friendly and their suggestions were positive. And I think that I've been at all the planning and zoning meetings, and I think they continue to be very business friendly. I don't get a sense that there's a negative atmosphere.
The only one thing I thought about that was, because Goma, New York's contract with the housing owners is technically expired, and I'll talk more about that later, it would be good to get, I don't know, does anybody have a copy of what all the recommendations are from Hiram?
From Hiram Peck.
Yeah, if we can just get a copy of that, it's coming up.
Yeah, that got emailed out. I
Right.
can find.
As long as you have it on file if we need it. in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, he had gone back and edited it a bit. It was a very lengthy document,
Yes.
so I think he
Right.
did kind of more of an addendum too. So I'll go dig that up and I can send that around again.
I just want to make the comment that I found their observation that, and I don't know if they just say this because we're a client but we're one of 8 clients, right? Aren't the 8 towns? They have clients.
Yeah.
But they kept saying, I kept hearing from multiple people, Dusty and, what's his name, Mike?
Mike.
That they felt Cornwall was really quite proactive and relative to the other towns. And, I think of Cornwall as really quite sleepy when it comes to particularly economic development, as you know. But also, we have these multiple commercial centers, and so we're kind of, I feel like, that we would be more at the end of the pack than at the front of the pack in terms of this kind of thing. But we should remind ourselves that, this is a small population area. All these towns are struggling with very similar kinds of issues. Regionalization is extremely important in terms of tackling some of this stuff. So even though it feels like we're not getting maybe where we want to be, we are doing pretty good relative to what other people are trying to do. So
Well, we have a map to get to where we're going.
I think that, I found that encouraging, particularly in, we spent money to have going to New York, be it all, not a lot. Part of it.
I think we got a lot of
I
back.
think
We
Cornwall
could do
is
re-up.
the town of Cornwall is a very participatory town. We're having a meeting today, there's 9 of us or 8 of whatever we are at the table, and there's as many people observing us. That's what I'm saying, it's a very participatory town. That's why I think we're, well,
I mean, I feel a little bereft that they're gone. Is there a way to keep something in the loop, or?
Yeah, I'll talk about that
Okay.
under four.
Well, the good news is we've gotten to be rather friendly with the
Yeah.
group, so, and they've been around, so I think we get a lot of, like I said, I think we got a lot of bang for our buck.
They
But
really
I think
like
we
it
also
up
made some
here,
good friends too.
and I think they like, what Todd said, we're sort of like, we try harder. I mean, I think other towns have advantages as far as economic engines or critical mass of population. So when things turn around, it's easier for Salisbury, Lakeville, Kent to turn around because of location or critical mass of what's going on. But I think, plugging into a dynamic group with good effort, I think they appreciate that.
Was that a 2-year contract?
A 2-year contract, and
2-year?
2-year, and I know other towns were, there's 21 towns in the COG, and other towns want to be part of this, and we feel the need for something like that, and whether the Council of Governments takes that on for all 20 towns, which still sounds like a big group, but it's, if you have I'm not sure where that's going to go, because, the whole state, it was funded by a state grant, and of course everything's in limbo now, but certainly that is one of the priorities of that group.
Well, Jocelyn's still trying to get something
Correct.
moving on that.
Yes.
I was
Okay.
impressed at how much time
Right.
they dedicated to
And
Cornwall.
they're still going. I'll
Yeah,
tell you,
yeah,
I'll tell you
really,
another
yeah.
story when we get to that part.
Yeah, no, they've done an incredible job. Okay, any other? Okay. Todd, can you do your report, please?
Yeah, so, once again, I'm here to basically fill you in on what we're trying to do in West Cornwall as far as studying the water and septic. There's really great news that the town approved a contract with WMC. Steve McDonald's one of the principals, he's here today. Hopefully, he's got his eyes and ears on to watch us grapple with some of the issues that we feel may be stymieing our efforts in West Cornwall. I'm the chairman of that group, and the last meeting, as we disbanded, it was quite clear that we all felt it was time, now that somebody had actually been hired, we could come out of executive session and really interact with the public. So it was very, very important that communication should begin. And we didn't really have a committee to do it, so it was sort of an after-the-fact kind of thing. I sent out an email trying to solicit members of the committee to be part of that communication. And Joanne, who's on the committee, responded. So Joanne and I are basically the committee. We haven't met yet as far as to strategize how to do an outreach. But I'm here today with the EDC and want to try to begin with this group to maybe find a few different paths that West Cornwall might follow, responsible, of course, for what the community wants, in order to perhaps craft something or help WMC craft something that they can propose to the community as a place that we're trying to get to with this water and septic. And I don't pretend to have any answers to this. This is a very, very complicated issue. I'm quite surprised we've come this far. But we have a study underway. The reason you have a study is you bring professionals in. And the issue of community development, Main Street development, that kind of thing is quite complicated. You need professionals, and we vetted four or five different firms. We chose WMC in part because of their willingness to help craft a vision for where we might go. I did speak to Mike Goldman about this, and of course Dusty McMahon, part of Goldman, New York, has been at every one of our meetings helping us move forward. So Mike would have been an obvious choice to help craft that directional thing, but of course they don't have any engineering expertise. So WMC, of course, has engineering expertise. Whether or not we avail ourselves of that, if the time were to come, is another question. But still, it's such a complicated issue that it's important to have professionals weigh in as much as possible. So that's where we're at. The committee is on the verge of holding a public forum on January 20th. We're really hoping to get the word out, to get as many of people.
What time and where?
It's at CCS, and is it at 7?
7.
7 o'clock. And, it was in the Chronicle, and it'll be on the video, in the minutes, and talk to as many people as you can so that we can get as much input as possible.
So the goal of that meeting is to get input from the public?
Well, I think the goal is initially to introduce Steve, and maybe Steve can help us if he's got something he'd like to say about what that might accomplish that meeting. I don't know if that's appropriate.
Sure. Steve?
It's more about, it's really educating the public. Where we are.
I mean, thank you very much, Steve McDonald with WC. But that's kind of what it's all about. The nuts and bolts of a study are fairly straightforward for us. We've done a lot of them to determine, number one, are there areas of concern? Are there concerns with both water and sewer? And how extensive are they? Are there pollution concerns? All that's kind of nuts and bolts. So really what it comes down to is the public and their perception of the study and the results of the study and the support of the study. We kind of call it consensus building. We like to build a consensus for whatever the results of the study are. So the first meeting is just kind of a kickoff meeting to introduce us, I suppose, and our staff to the public and gather whatever input we can. We haven't really done anything yet. Gordon's provided us with the records of from the health district of past issues, which have been really helpful so far. We've started going through those, kind of see what the issues are as far as the health district is concerned. And you're well aware of what their situation is with West Cornwall. So we hope the first meeting is just kind of welcome everybody and then through the course of the study, which shouldn't take that long, we'll be reaching out either through newsletters or through public meetings or through the video or through internet, whatever the group decides to do in terms of public information, getting the word out, how the study's going, what the results are, and where you go from there. Kind of a nutshell.
Well, EDC has a website, so anything else, Steve?
No, again, we're starting out. We thank the town for selecting us. It's kind of we like doing this kind of work. We like working with small communities. And it's a great opportunity, I think. So.
Yeah, I just feel that as a group, we ought to be thinking about becoming some kind of an advocacy for a position or positions, But we should have a vision developed that we advocate, because there's going to be a lot of advocacy. As Richard pointed out, we're very participatory, and everybody's going to weigh in on what their opinion is.
And they'll have an opportunity to do so on January 20th. So there's going to have plenty of opportunity for people to.
So that'll be the first one.
Yeah, that'll be the first. I'm sure we'll have several open public meetings.
Excellent.
So.
The other thing, Todd, one way to kick this, move things forward, couple thoughts. There is also a meeting that people should go to on the 28th, which I think is Saturday morning, 10 o'clock at the school, where the town Planning and Zoning Commission looks at the 10-year plan and what has been done, what's being done, where should the town go. Now the 10-year plan was done like 7 or 8 years ago and started before that, so Cornwall has changed quite a bit in those 8 years.
Yeah.
But this is one of the key recommendations, was to look at West Cornwall and where does it where does it go from here? And I think as far as that goes, there is also going to be pushing, to re-examine housing issues in the town as a whole. And one thought I had was that even if Cornwall, New York's contract is done, Jocelyn Eyre is a community planner at the Council of Governments, and she's very familiar with Cornwall and the whole region.
Right.
So there's, paid staff available that can look at this very issue as far as where is the town going, and specifically, what do you hope to achieve by doing this project? Because that's a key part. I mean, where does the town, where does the village want to go? And what part does this come into it? But as far as the vision thing, she might be able to help, and that's a whole nother set of meetings or something like that.
Well,
If there are people available that can help paint that picture as far as
Yeah,
where do you want
Jocelyn
to
would
be.
be a wonderful connection to,
Right. So I just-
for WMC, because she was so involved at the beginning of all of this.
Right, and she helped to
She
write
knows
grant
more.
that got this whole thing going, so, and Rick Lynn is head of the council of governments,
Right,
and
Rick
he
would be
used to
another
be
one.
chair of, he lives in Cornwall, used to be head of chair of planning and zoning, so
Yeah,
both of them were lucky again to have people that know the town in there. They're hired, they're on staff, don't part any grants and stuff, but there are resources there they can do, I think can really help with this key piece as far as where does the village and town want to
Right.
go.
so does the town work on 5-year plans or 10-year plans?
10-year plan.
It's
So
10.
there's a 5-year capital plan just for spending, but there's a 10-year planning and zoning plan, planning conservation
Right.
and development, which addresses these issues.
That's the one that the EDC came out with, right? That was the last
Correct.
10-year plan.
Correct. It's planning as opposed to strictly money.
So where's Dave Grossman these days? Is he around?
He's in Arlington, Virginia.
Would he write us a Cornwall in the teens?
He probably would.
Yeah,
He'd
let's
love it.
reach out to him.
I'm sure he probably
Because
is.
that Cornwall in the zeros was spot on.
It's very important, because I think there's a lot of things that I said that this will be coming up on January 28th as far as where things at in the town, the school population, the aging population, the vacancy rates in town. Those are
Right.
all things that are push points that weren't here 8 years ago, but have to be looked at right now.
Yeah,
And
That's
that's
what I learned, Dave Delinsky taught me SWOTs. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It all boils down to that, doesn't it?
You got a SWOT stuff, good.
SWOT analysis. SWOT.
Okay,
All right, well, thanks a lot, man.
and thank you.
Great.
Thanks for coming.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, further thought is probably just also making sure that people, that you contact Abe Lefferts at the Lakeville Journal and Ruth Epstein at the Waterbury Republican, just to, because you can get a lot
Yeah,
of buzz just
that
by
hopefully
advertising the
is-
meeting. Because you can advertise the meeting, and then you can get them there to report what
Right.
happened at the meeting. In a lot of ways, you can reach probably more people that way than you are actually going to get people at the
I
meeting.
mean, it's just Joanne and I at the moment trying to
Right.
get the word out. It's-
Well, I can
it's-
help you with the
Yeah,
media
it's
contacts.
much work this week, but
If
I'll
you
get
need some help writing.
I talked to
Yeah.
those two people.
Okay.
Just call me. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Mapping out the existing inventory of attainable housing and creating a roadmap. I've been working with Karen Nelson to get a handle on this, which is not the easiest thing on the planet, can I just tell you. But the good news is, people have actually started reaching out to me and talking to me about housing they have available for rent or for sale. So that's been kind of ongoing. Some are working with Priscilla and some of the other real estate folks. So that's, what I've been trying to do. Kate and I are probably in March are going to start, just because of schedules, are going to start working on revamping the housing documents with the Cornwall Housing Authority, I think is that what it's called?
Housing Corporation.
So when we looked at the documents are very difficult to understand. You're not sure what you're supposed to do exactly. It's very confusing. So what we're going to try to do is make that much more user-friendly so that when people read it, it's obvious what they need to do in order to get a parcel or one of these homes. The process is just 2 owners. You get a large packet, and anytime, as all of us have experienced, when you get a large packet of very complex documents, you tend to put it aside and not deal with it. So what we really want to do is simplify that process and then assist people in that process. So, because people have not been using these parcels, and these homes are sitting there. So it's there's an opportunity to build a small house. And again, the rules have been changed by P&Z, so you can build any size house you want. If you want an 800 square foot house, you can go ahead and do that. So I think we just need to take what we have that exists and make it easy for people to get to the next step. So that's certainly going to be a process. Jocelyn Ayer actually also kindly reached out to me and has been talking to me about other things that we can do. We're going to be working on setting up a summit, probably, I think springish, just when we have, a chance to review these documents, a chance to really understand what is available, and, work with Jocelyn a bit. I think we'll be in a good position to have more of a working process with the public. Okay, Chamber of Commerce. Cynthia's not here, so I'll do her report for her quickly. The Business Association, the Cornwall Business Association is what it's called, has actually been going gangbusters. So at each of these meetings, I think at the last one, there were like over 20 people. So it's been going very nicely, and they've been amazingly positive. So people who we've not seen before have kind of come out of the woodwork, which is kind of fun. So there are people who I didn't even know had a business, to be honest, who are running small businesses, who are coming out to participate. So it's been a very fun kind of thing, and again, very positive. Priscilla.
One of the ideas that was presented at our last meeting and is going forward in West Cornwall, there is going to be a midwinter stroll, and it is going to be on Saturday evening, February 18th. Not quite sure of the time. I think it's going to be 6 to 8. But the idea is that we will ask the various tradespeople who have businesses, storefronts in Cornwall to be open. And for example, I'm inviting 3 other people to come to Bain that don't have storefronts. I'm inviting one of my agents, Dave Hurlbut. He has DeVal Construction. And I'm inviting the Sicardis. Susan has a business of baking, and Stephen does electrical. And so I figure they always need an extra bathroom, even though we're having our own issues right now. We've all worked that yesterday. We'll offer a bathroom, hot chocolate, hot coffee, and Susan's cookies. And there'll be, also Bain will be there, I'll be there. So there'll be 4 businesses in that little spot. And I think that Bianca, I've spoken with Bianca, she's planning to make available the Suterin Gallery, which can house probably a dozen businesses that don't have storefronts, so that painters, builders, whatever, could come in and have a little table, hand out cards, that kind of thing. And Russ Sawicki, the Wandering Moose, where we've been having our meetings, was delighted that we were going to do something midwinter because it's a dead time. And we're hoping that we'll be able to advertise it locally, but specifically up at Mohawk, because some of the people who are there skiing might want to come down and see what's happening in West Cornwall that Saturday night. That's our great white hope anyway. And I have a house for sale on Great Hollow, and Sunday morning I was there. And I can be there nice days, and if one car goes by every half hour, it's a lot. There was a steady stream on Sunday morning. It was a great ski day. That was nice to see.
Thank you, Priscilla. Gordon, can you do a quick update on the flashing crosswalk down in...
Flashing crosswalk,
Yep.
yeah, so, yeah, I had a good session with Dusty from Goma, New York. Even though their contract's expired, he's committed to stay in touch, and we drove down to Kent Falls, and I said part of the interesting lay of the land is that Kent Falls is a huge magnet of people that is very close to Cornwall, and how do you move those people up, or at least publicize that there's more, that Route 7 doesn't end at Kent Falls. So he, and the other thing too is I said when we have some money that we have to spend on the crosswalk, and I think we can incorporate the kiosk and a few other things around there, but what we don't want to do, or what we shouldn't do, is do changes that often towns do things, and then in 5 years, somebody else comes in and does something differently, because you hadn't thought of all the things. So I said, if he's the outside person, we got it for a short period of time, look at the whole triangle area, look at the approach to Cornwall Bridge, and what can we do in a long-term way to make it more friendly to visit,
Calm it.
friendly to live, calm it down, make it, you know, the long-standing issues that are there as far as the traffic circulation, but also make it a more, a place easier to visit, easier for the people to live there, to get across the street, this kind of thing. And definitely when we are, you know, a tangible thing is, you know, to emphasize there is a crosswalk there. This is not in the middle of interstate and things like that. We had some other conversations with the state DOT, who've been very friendly and supportive, and actually have offered some engineering times to look at those issues and assess this with the crosswalk and beefing up the stop signs, because as we were talking, another car went through the stop sign and almost hit us. So you know, I'm personally aware of what's going on there. And so what he said he's going to do is he's going to, you know, take all that, and he had one of his workers with him, and so he's going to come up with some thoughts and meet again end of January, early February at the country market to sort of look at that one person's vision from the Kent line all the way up through Cornwall Bridge. And look at, he also, one thing that struck him was there are these neat things to visit. He said, but if you look at the economy now, the big box stores are getting hammered by internet competition, and the people that are going to places, they're not necessarily going there just to, I mean, they're not coming to Cornwall to get the, you know, you're buying your necessities, you're probably going to buy it online or at a big box store. But there is a great appeal here as being a destination. A lot of people go to a certain place for an experience, and there are experiences to be had even between Kent Falls and Cornwall Bridge as far as we drove up. I said, here's the farm. So that's what people are trying to see. So, you know, highlight Stonewall Dairy somewhat more, and because, you know, so there's some new energy there. And also Cynthia's cookie store is on the way there. You would never know that that's there, but there's little things there. And then also talk up the Cornwall Inn, and he looked at the gallery at the intersection of 745, which is underutilized. So that's an incredible space, but trying to let you know you're not out in the wilderness here. There are a lot of interesting things to see, and Mr. Piker is amping up his pottery there. I mean, he said this is an incredible stretch of road that nobody knows about, and it could be incorporated into you know, a lot of good things just to expand the good things that are already there. So I mean, it's really exciting to see what started out as a crosswalk has sort of gone a little bit bigger. But as I said, maybe now that we've got somebody that's here, and because he likes to work with the town, look at some bigger stuff. So we are going to try to zero in on getting the crosswalk done. And the other thought we talked to Adele and James about is a few planters or artwork or whatever else makes it look a little bit more like
Are
a
they
place you
applying
want
for
to visit.
steep, do you know?
What?
Are they applying for steep?
I think they are, and they said we have some money for this crosswalk stuff, and I'm talking to other towns about how much it costs to do that part, but hopefully we can wrap this all into a separate
The nuts and
prong
bolts
thing.
of the crosswalk, is it going to be a pole with the flashing lights?
Yes,
or-
it's similar to the one that's up at Mountainside, or they have even a higher voltage thing up at Hotchkiss, which lights up the whole countryside, which seems a little bit overkill. But the one,
Sounds scary.
it was, as I was going up to Gear this week, there was somebody in the dark trying to cross the road at Mountainside, and it was foggy, and that thing just, you know, boom, there it was, and you know, so I stopped. So it was it's a good thing, and I think hopefully it'll be within our budget and has a solar component
Is
to
there
it.
a date specific that this might be?
Well, hopefully this spring, because we have to get on it,
Oh,
as a
that's
grant, yeah.
To be installed or to
Yeah.
get started?
Yeah.
To be installed.
Yeah, yeah, so we really want to push that.
That's-
Steve?
I can comment on that really quickly. We're doing one for Salisbury School,
Right,
and the permitting is a kind of a nightmare. Even if the DOT says they're going to work with it real closely,
right.
to the point where, I don't know how long ago the one at Hotchkiss was installed. When was that done? It was last
That
summer.
was all, that's like a year old, and so
Yeah.
is the one at
They still
Mountainside.
have a permit for that.
Really, have you talked to Erica? You
Yeah,
know
just-
Erica Lundberg?
I don't know.
Right. Well, maybe we can talk
How much
afterwards.
does it cost?
Offhand, I don't know, I can find out, because the Salisbury's hired the same company that did, the one in Hotchkiss to do theirs.
Yeah.
We've started installing theirs, even though they don't have a permit. We put the bases in already, so there's everything anxious to move ahead. When you submit the plan, you have to do plans.
Right.
You submit them to DOT, and then the traffic people look at them, then the electrical people have to look at them, even though it's solar powered, there's really no electrical involvement. And,
Right.
you know, the review comments are like unbelievable. And we're using their details, the DOT's details for the actual crossing lanes, but they're still questioning everything, so.
But also at Salisbury School, that is a DOT approved crosswalk already, so you're
Yes,
not
that's correct.
asking even to establish a crosswalk.
No.
You just want to upgrade
Just
it.
want to upgrade it.
All right. So, anyway,
Just be aware, it takes time.
yeah, anyway,
Or
I
just
guess
do it.
I'm,
Yeah, just do
Bring
it.
us out from this.
yeah, I'm a little,
I had a friend who used to work for DOT, Dutch Humes.
right.
Ask permission.
And,
Is there anything?
I was meeting him the other day, and he said, Steve, just go ahead and do it. What are they gonna do? You know, they can make you take it down or move it? Or I said, yeah, well, they could, but.
Because they said the town of North Canaan actually installed the one
Lawlessness.
at,
All right, we are on video.
Right.
Yeah.
at Mountainside.
Yeah.
And so it was up to, it was a town deal, and they said, talk to North Canaan and Salisbury about it. Anyway, we'll talk.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's where we're at.
Okay, so then the last one is promoting Cornwall through branding. That's, like one of the things we'll work on is creating a strategy for the website for social media for the upcoming year. And I'm certainly hopeful that I'll have someone, a new member of the EDC who will be able to help do that kind of stuff. Okay, any unfinished business that we have?
Do you know when the terms are coming up again? When, for members?
Yeah, actually, Wendy, I forgot your correspondence. I got that, I think at about 11 last night. Did you bring that with you by any chance? No. A copy, that's okay, don't worry about it, I got
We
it.
have 2 openings right now?
We actually, as of 11 o'clock last night, we did. So, yeah,
Mark left.
yeah.
Who's the other?
Me.
Wendy's,
My term's up.
Your
She
turn.
actually very kindly stayed.
Okay.
Until, we had an opening, but,
Right.
she made the
It's
decision
time.
in the new year to move on.
Mhm.
So, I just want to publicly thank Wendy, because Wendy has
Yeah, very
been a
much so.
calm, wonderful addition to the team, very thoughtful, very mindful,
Right. They're
and
recommended.
really great minutes. So Wendy, thank you for your service, we really appreciate it, we'll miss you.
Yeah.
So
I'll
come
miss you
visit us
guys
once in
too.
a while.
It's very interesting. Definitely.
Okay. So we'll move on to new business. What we need to do next is make recommendations on new members to the selectmen. So the process is, people submit their letter, and then can come here and make their statement, and then we have an opportunity, we do a recommendation to the selectmen, and it goes to the selectmen to make that final decision. But, we do have people here who've been in conversations with the EDC for a period of time, and who have shown interest, who have skills that are unique, I think, that can bring different things that are very valuable to the EDC. So I'd certainly like the EDC to take a look at the 2 folks who are here and consider them for EDC positions. And I guess we would have to make a motion then, correct, Courtney?
Well, we have 3 though.
There's the
Yeah, we have 3.
Bianca.
I'd like to speak for Bianca only because she's at the trade fairs right now in Manhattan, and she was unaware that she had to be here for this sort of thing. But she really has a lot of good ideas to help economic viability in West Cornwall and Cornwall.
Okay.
And I just have to get her 2 cents in. I'm sorry that she's
Yeah, the
not.
letter was sent to the selectmen, it was forwarded to me, so I got that.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that last night, so, I guess I could have called your house at midnight, but that seems rude.
That's,
Although I was awake.
that's okay.
So, we can, do you want to have discussion, or how would you like to do this?
How would you like us to do this?
I would like a nomination to be made. We can nominate one at a time, we can nominate.
But doesn't the selectmen, they have 3 people and they'll make a decision. We don't really even get involved in.
Yeah.
No, we make recommendations.
Yeah,
I mean,
agree.
we can certainly just say, we have 3 people that have asked to be members of the EDC.
Well, I think they're all,
Do have unique qualifications?
well, I mean, they all seem
Okay.
good people. So,
Is there a reason that it could be just limited to 2? Could they add one more? I'm just saying, the more the merrier. And the more ideas you get from people,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, they're public meetings and people can come and be part of this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, sooner or later, another opening will come up. So that would be my thing, is encourage everybody to be as involved as possible. But there is stipulations as to how many people, you know.
Right, okay. So, Priscilla?
I would like to recommend that we forward all 3 names to our Cornwall selectmen and let them make the choice, or perhaps accept all 3.
Do we have a second? Any discussion?
Yes, I don't think it's wise to say that we should encourage them to accept all 3, because by statute, this is a commission of the town. To consider all 3. We have, you consider all 3, but we're only allowed to place 2. But
Why are you allowed that? I mean, what's the
We're
reason?
not in public comment right now,
Okay,
so.
so
yeah, well, that's
There's 2 openings on the board. and
Right.
The selectmen can only appoint two more individuals to the board, because it's a 10-member board, and there are 8 members seated.
right,
So there's only
Right.
2 openings.
right.
You can recommend someone, you can not recommend someone. If you recommend someone, or someone's, more than one, those are recommendations which the selectmen consider. I don't think we're bound by the recommendations, but we would consider the recommendations as, you know, as we consider the attributes of each individual. So I mean, you can make recommendations or not. It's just a-
Well, we have a motion to make recommendations. But
We
that
do.
was-
The motion can be amended. The
Yeah,
motion can
what's
be-
the second phrase in there?
I will amend my motion to remove the suggestion that we are enlarging the Economic Development Commission. So I would still recommend that we forward the 3 names, and the selectmen will have to select.
Okay. Is there any?
Can you urge them to fill the seats? Because sometimes you don't get filled.
Okay, is
But
there,
can we urge them to fill the seats? Because sometimes they don't get filled. They'll-
You can tell us whatever's on your mind.
And as
okay,
I
is there
said,
further
it's pretty
discussion
rare
on the
sometimes.
amended motion?
we may listen.
That was the second, or the seconder?
Yes. Yeah, we have some. Any further discussion on the amended motion? So our motion is to make a recommendation to send the 3 names to the Board of Selectmen and let the selectmen make the choice. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I think if anyone has any opinions one way or the other, they should send those to the first select. Anyone on the committee. I mean, we're making it, they're making the decision. But I think if any of us have any feelings as far as supporting one person more than another or whatever, we should forward that to Gordon.
On an individual basis,
Mhm.
David?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's always an option, right? You could.
It's
it's
an
an
option, but
recommendation.
we
You
haven't
can write
talked
letters
about
of
it.
support. If I get any letters of support, I will forward them on to the other selectmen. They should be addressed to the whole board, and they are public documents, so if you don't say anything you don't want in the public records. So, anyway, be positive. If you have special comments, you have special comments.
And we're essentially saying, we as a board recommend those 3 to the board. You know, we're
For
endorsing
consideration.
as viable candidates. That's what we're
Is there further discussion? Okay, I mean, it's, I think it's, I guess I'd rather have the seats filled as soon as possible. I think that's, when is the next selectmen's meeting?
It is,
A week from today.
yeah, January 17th, I think.
Can that be put in the agenda?
I move the question.
Put it, what? Yes, we'll put appointments on the agenda. We do have, we're in the middle of budget season, so we may, I know we have other people coming to the meeting to talk about budget things, so we can definitely put it on the agenda, but it may not be The first or only thing we do.
Okay. The question's been moved. I'm going to close discussion now. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's move on. We do need to elect a secretary. Do you guys want to wait until next time, or do you want to do that now?
Let's get our new candidate in, and then,
Well,
I
candidates.
see a couple of candidates.
Yeah, right.
And then we'll give them a job right away.
That sounds like a wonderful idea. Okay, we can do that next time. Okay, announcements. Our next meeting is February 14th at 9 a.m. The next Cornwall Business Association meeting is January 19th at 9:30 at the Hungry Moose. Steep grants are now available if any business wants to apply. And just remember that if you want to go and get involved with the one on septic, January 20th is your opportunity to do so.
I have another
Announcement? Sure.
announcement or new business is that I think before we adjourn, we should set a date and time for a special meeting I have the notes here,
Goals and budget.
to set goals and budget for the next fiscal year. I'd like to do that
What would be for
within
the next
about
fiscal
2
year?
weeks from today or so, before we meet again. So we need to set goals and budget for fiscal year, whatever you call it, next year, 18? Is it the town? So anyway, let's do that. Set a time and place.
Well, 2 weeks from now, it's Tuesday the 24th.
Okay. Do you guys want to just do 9 o'clock on Tuesday the 24th? Would that work?
This is a special meeting.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
special meeting.
Yes.
At the moment, it seems okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's-
I'll just, I'll send out an email just asking everybody, if everybody can confirm, and then we can post notice.
And I would recommend if you ask everyone to send you to collect together any goals,
Sure.
so we all start to think about
Sure,
that.
and
ahead of
if
time.
each of the captains should take a look at what they're doing, and if it needs to move further, that would be a very good place to
And
start.
projects.
Yeah, and
so
projects that come
let's
up.
come ready to hit the ground and get out.
Sounds good, very good.
Uh,
here? Yes. Although it's bloody cold. If I get cold, it's cold.
It's either cold or we can't hear what you're saying.
And another
Okay.
question is, do we allow time for public comment in these meetings?
If we have public
Does that happen in
review.
other commissions, Gordon? Is there a pro forma way to invite comment, feedback?
Yeah, well, the selectmen's meeting, we have it before and after, which is unusual. Most places just have a public comment at the end of the agenda, because you want as explained to me once, that these are public meetings, but they're not public hearings.
Right.
And you all have been seated to do a certain amount of
Right.
business.
Right.
It's important to be in touch with the public and allow feedback, but it's also important for you to stay focused on your agenda, especially something that's constrained by time. And so if I had a recommendation, I would put a public comment period at the end of your agenda, because you just have a short thing. We can go on into the long hours of the night, but if you all have lives,
Right,
wanna get
well, our
on
business
top.
is done now, so we
Right.
can certainly move on to the next, for a brief
But
period.
my continuing question, would you recommend limiting comment to a minute or 2 minutes, and then things can be followed up on?
I don't think that's
It's not-
necessary to put a time limit on it. They have, other towns do that, and, but you can always keep that into, the word summarize is also a good thing to keep in your back
You can
pocket.
reserve the right to say
Say,
that.
we've got
on
things to
the
do.
next.
Okay,
So I recommend we put a public comment session at the end of our meetings. Allow public-
well, there's a public, I mean, yeah, we can certainly
Right,
put on the agenda.
it's on the agenda.
Is that a motion? Is that something that has to get voted?
No. I don't
No.
think so. So, okay, so our business is concluded. If there's public comment to be made, public can comment away.
Yeah, I'd like to suggest that you consider doing what the Board of Selectmen does, because if you did wait for public comment to the end, you will have done all your considerations without public comment. And if someone's read the agenda and would like to say something, I think it would be nice if they had an opportunity to say it, and that you can consider that input during your deliberations in the meeting. So, you know, it doesn't take a long time. And if somebody makes the effort to come out, I would hope that you'd give them the time to be heard. So I think waiting till the end defeats the purpose to a large extent of public input.
The other thing you have to be careful too is that public comment should be reserved to items on the agenda. That somebody, you can't talk about putting in, somebody comes up, say, I want to put an airport on the town green, and then all of a sudden you guys get into a conversation that's not on your agenda, so that's, you know, there is a limited,
That's good.
there are limitations on what you're supposed to
Okay. All right.
hear the part. Okay? Second.
All right. Any other public comment? Terrific. Seeing none, we're adjourning the meeting. The time is 10:04.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.